Now if you've done the list, and yes, I am recording these back to back, you shouldn't be seeing them back to back, but you might be. But for those of you who say that I don't have any other clothes, well, I am doing these back to back because I'm thinking about it right now. I'm getting the monkey off my back. We've done the list, things I love to do. We've created off of that a list of things how to make money doing it. Now, if you're having trouble with this, if this is just mind-boggling to you and you just can't get paid, and you've listed 3 things and that's all you can get to, man, you're just, let me know. I can release a brute squad to come over there and hit you in the head. No, not really. We'll find some way to help you, but 20. If you can't, you should at least have 20 things on your list, at very least. I have worked with people that I see them and they have literally they'll show up. Hey Dale, can I meet you? I've done the things you love, and I'm doing part 2 of the list, and I get back with them and I said, this is my list. I don't know how to do anything. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to write down, and that's just a mental block. Other people, the list is so long, it's pages and pages and pages, and we need to start categorizing this thing. It'll become obvious. It's a fun exercise. It's a fun exercise to do over and over. The third part, this is just going to be, hang on, because this one's amazing. You now have 2 lists in front of you. One is things that you love to do, and it may not be neat, it may not be pretty, but I think if you've done this, it should have generated some thought. You also have a second list. Hopefully it doesn't look like that. You should have a second list of things that you, how to make money off of those things. Now, and if probably you can do this, you can sit there and look at this list and you can probably say, these 3 things go together. I could see you probably, and you've already identified this in your mind already, I'm sure. There's bubbles. These things can fit together nicely. These things can fit together nicely. I don't know how to fit these 2 bubbles together. Here's a list of ideas to make money off of my hobbies, my sports-related hobbies. Here's my ideas of how to make money off my gardening-related hobbies or whatever they are. And, I don't know how to connect those, but I can see that these 2 or 3 go together and these 2 or 3 go together. You probably are seeing some groupings, and that's good. Now, this next thing, what you want to do, you already know. You see some things on this list that just excite you. I know you do. I know you do. I've done this hundreds of times with people. There's things in there that in your heart excite you. Don't lie. Don't lie. If if your job is a support person for a Linux systems, and there's something in here written about Linux, and you think that's what you're trained in, that's what you know how to do and everything, so that's the one you're going to bubble into and say, I want to track down that one. Give it a break. Go talk to one of your friends or your spouse or somebody and say, is this the one I really love? They'll tell you, you're an idiot. Most of the time, that's not what you really love. That's what you're doing. There's some occasions that you're right on target, and that's great. Point being, go to the one that really drives your heart. Go to the one that you really drool over when you think about it. I could make money doing this. Even the one that think, if nobody would pay me, this would be wonderful if I could do something like this and make money doing it. What you want to do is pick out a couple of those that bubble to the top. And you don't have time and energy for many, but let's just pick 1 or 2. And you know what they are. Again, if you don't, let me know. I'll try to help you. And I do. I have people contacting me this. If we don't get back to you immediately, I'll get back to you pretty quick. As quick as I can. But hang in there. What do you do now? Take those things that you have written down that seem to, let's say, number 1, 2, and 3. And think about this. The number 1 on your list, the thing that you would love to do to make money, who is doing it now? Who is living your dream? Who do you know, whether you know them personally, whether you know them because they're a personality, they've written books, they're the people you follow because this is something you love. You know, if you're into uh, snow skiing, like I gave the example earlier, if you're into snow skiing and you happen to follow somebody's blog on snow skiing, or you happen to read somebody's books on snow skiing, or you happen to love a particular ski instructor, you know, who do you follow? Are they living your dream already? You may know, so you may know them personally, you may know them by reputation or because you follow them, or you may not even know. You may know that there's possibly somebody out there that teaches snow skiing or that writes blogs. I don't know, I've never looked. But your job is to identify the people. And so if you don't know who they are, then you start searching. Just use our friend the Google and start searching who is doing it. Now this is hang on. The next part of that is contact them and ask them to talk to you. That's just earth-shattering, isn't it? Gee. And it's when somebody told me this. A friend of mine, his name is Dave Upton, started many companies, many companies, and he told me this. You know, I find out what I want to do, and I go find somebody who's doing it, has been very successful at it, and I go interview them. Duh. That's just earth-shattering. It works. It absolutely works. Go to the people that are the most successful. Don't go to the guy down the road who's just started a business doing what you're doing, because he's going to be defensive. He doesn't necessarily know his way around yet. Go to the most successful person that is living your dream now that you can think of, that's making, you know, whatever your goals are, making tons of money, spending all day on the ski slopes, spending all day in their garden, whatever it is your goal is. Find the most successful people in your field and go hunt them down and talk to them. You're not asking them for a job. You're not asking them for endorsements. All you want to know is, how did you do what you did? In other words, you're asking them to talk about themselves. And I don't care how rich or famous they are. They may be hard to get to. They may not have a lot of time. But nobody is tired of talking about themselves and their successes. Now, I have found all kind of things. I've found people, when they do this, they find it difficult to get in touch with a person if it's a very big personality. But I am staggered at the number of times that they go to somebody that's a very big personality and they are emailing them, and they're emailing them back in the same day. I mean, you know, I will not email you back in the same day, probably, because I don't check my email. And some of these other people that are, you know, celebrities in their field are, you know, they're having instant communication with the people that are the top dogs in their field, and they're getting interviews, and just bizarre things happen when they go do these interviews. I mean, the number one thing is you will learn so. I mean, you could just take, you know, take all the books. Yeah, if we just take just a few books here on my bookshelf, you know. I mean, let me just tell you, I don't read. I like books. Reading them is optional. I could read and read and read and read. 15 minutes with a person who's been there, done that, and been successful at it is worth thousands and thousands of pages of reading. It's just invaluable. So this is your trick now. From these lists you've got, to find the people that you're looking for, to try to identify them person by name, and then hunt them down and go talk to them. No stalking, but I mean, you know, probably you can get on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and make a connection with them. And they'll talk. There's a great, I think he did it on Facebook, Gary Vaynerchuk, the Wine Library TV guy, the Wine Library. The author of this book, by the way, I just happen to have it here, Crush It, great book. You know, he's got a video out just a couple of days ago that I saw that he's just staggered at the number of people who don't believe you can get in touch with celebrities, for instance. That it's just such an open world. We can just talk to the person. So figure out I mean, this, once you do this, your world will be totally changed. Just totally changed. I mean, it's 2010. It's time to do something different. If you're kind of stuck sitting there in the desk, and you're kind of stuck sitting there in cubicle, and you're going cubically insane, try this. It'll rock your world.